Welcome to Impact Signals, social impact at the scale of AI. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Sarah.
It's Saturday, March 14th, episode 30. This week's headline: AI is filling the data gaps that have left billions of people exposed to disasters without warning. Our lead story: Google launched Groundsource this week, a system that uses AI to mine 5 million news articles published since 2000 and turn them into the world's first global flash flood dataset. The result? 2.6 million historical flash flood events, geo-tagged and date-stamped across more than 150 countries. Google trained a long short-term memory neural network on top of that corpus, integrating NASA precipitation data, NOAA forecasts, and DeepMind's weather models to generate flash flood risk signals up to 24 hours in advance for urban zones at 20 square kilometer resolution. The system is already live on Google's Flood Hub, which previously reached roughly 2 billion people with riverine flood forecasting. The key context here: the World Meteorological Organization estimates flash floods cause approximately 85% of all flood fatalities worldwide, more than 5,000 deaths annually, precisely because most countries lack the sensor infrastructure to predict them. WMO research finds that even 12 hours of lead time reduces flash flood damage by 60%. The Groundsource dataset is now publicly available via Zenodo as a digital public good, and Google has indicated the same methodology could extend to landslides and heat waves.
The validation numbers are worth noting for practitioners considering integration. In benchmarking against the U.S. National Weather Service, Groundsource showed higher recall. It caught more actual events at 32% versus 22%, but lower precision at 26% compared to 44%, meaning more false positives. Google designed it specifically for countries that cannot invest in traditional radar infrastructure. For field teams in affected regions, this means earlier mobilization windows, even if some alerts don't materialize. The threshold settings can be adjusted per organization's risk tolerance.
A related story from Africa. A February 2026 research paper gained significant traction this week after being highlighted during discussions at Humanitarian Networks and Partnerships Week in Geneva. The paper demonstrates a production-grade architecture deploying NVIDIA's Earth-2 AI weather modeling system at just $1,430 to $1,730 per month for national-scale coverage. That's 2,000 to 4,500 times cheaper than traditional radar installations, each of which costs more than $1 million. Africa currently has an 18 times coverage deficit in weather observation infrastructure compared to North America and Europe. The architecture delivers 15-day atmospheric forecasts via WhatsApp, which has over 80% smartphone market penetration across the continent, responding to user queries in under 200 milliseconds. This directly supports the UN Secretary General's Early Warnings for All initiative, which targets universal early warning access by 2027. UNDDR data cited in the paper finds early warning systems reduce disaster death rates by a factor of 6.
The government's implication practitioners should track, where Groundsource produces a global alert layer that governments access from a single private provider, the Earth-2 architecture lets national meteorological agencies run their own sovereign forecasting systems. A Science Direct analysis published this quarter warns that concentrating critical warning infrastructure within a few private technology companies creates public safety vulnerabilities. For humanitarian organizations working in government partnerships across Africa, the sovereign deployment model may be a more sustainable ask than integration with a third-party platform.
The American Red Cross announced this week that it received a major cloud computing grant, selected in the highest investment tier of a competitive nonprofit technology program, to prototype Clara AI, a multi-agent platform built to coordinate humanitarian services across 4 distinct domains: disaster relief, blood services, military family support, and life-saving training. Clara AI uses an agent orchestration framework where a single conversational interface routes inquiries to specialized agents for each service area, enabling what the Red Cross describes as instant multilingual assistance while freeing human responders for complex, life-critical cases. Testing will assess how the system handles high-stress moments, including disaster evacuations, blood shortages, and military family emergencies. The Red Cross will present early findings at a nonprofit technology conference on March 19th. Kathy Mew, the Red Cross Vice President of Innovation, described the partnership as, quote, "more than technology. It's about amplifying our ability to deliver compassionate care when and where it's needed most."
The architecture choice here is worth watching. Rather than deploying one large generalist model, Clara AI uses specialized agents that maintain focus and accountability in specific service domains, a design principle increasingly favored in high-stakes humanitarian contexts where errors carry human costs. For practitioners evaluating AI for multi-channel service delivery, the Red Cross is essentially testing whether specialization beats generalization in crisis support workflows.
Our recovery story today: More than $29 million has been mobilized for Madagascar's recovery following tropical cyclones Faitia and Jazani through a combination of prearranged financing mechanisms facilitated by the African Risk Capacity Group and partner institutions. The UN's Central Emergency Response Fund separately approved $3 million to help more than 90,000 people following Cyclone Jazani alone, which left 31 dead, more than 250,000 people affected, and 65,000 homes flooded, damaged, or destroyed. India delivered 30 tons of emergency supplies via air transport, including 12 tons of medical aid. This financing picture is significant because ARC operates on parametric insurance principles. Payouts trigger automatically when satellite and weather data cross predefined thresholds without requiring damage assessment missions that take weeks in remote terrain. The speed to payout is the operational advantage. Money moves before full impact data is even available.
This is a concrete example of anticipatory and parametric finance translating to faster recovery. ARC has paid out more than $170 million in parametric claims across Africa over the past decade. For humanitarian finance teams, Madagascar's response demonstrates the case for prearranged financing instruments as standard operating procedure in climate-vulnerable regions, not a special arrangement, but baseline infrastructure.
Our final story. Researchers at Stevens Institute of Technology published a study this week in the journal Computers and Industrial Engineering introducing a multi-objective optimization algorithm for disaster aid delivery via truck-drone hybrid systems. Notable specifically because it treats fairness as the primary optimization target, not average delivery time. Most existing disaster logistics algorithms minimize mean delivery time, which in practice concentrates drone flights where ground access is already good. The Stevens model minimizes the gap between the first and last delivery, ensuring communities in difficult terrain are not systematically underserved relative to those near main roads. Tested in scenarios modeled on urban flooding in Hoboken, New Jersey, and rural terrain in Hopkins County, Kentucky, the system achieved measurably more equitable distribution without significantly increasing total resource consumption. The algorithm also adapts in real time to emerging road blockages and disinformation about aid requests.
For WFP, OCHA, and any organization managing multimodal supply chains at scale, this changes where drone flights get prioritized during a response. The implication is that adopting equity as an optimization target means deliberately routing more drone capacity toward harder-to-reach communities, a logistical decision with direct downstream consequences for survivor outcomes. This paper gives practitioners a formal framework to make that case to operations leadership.
Before we close, events for the week ahead. The Humanitarian Networks and Partnerships Week 2026 in Geneva wraps up today, March 14th. Tomorrow, the WSIS Prizes 2026 nomination deadline closes, the annual ITU Awards for AI and ICT projects in sustainable development. NVIDIA GTC 2026 opens Monday in San Jose, running through March 19th. The event features an AI for Good track with humanitarian AI deployments. Disasters Expo USA follows March 18th and 19th in Anaheim, the industry trade show for emergency management technology. And the AAAI Spring Symposium on AI and Humanitarian Assistance opens March 24th at Stanford, running through the 26th. That's Impact Signals for Saturday, March 14th, 2026. If this briefing is useful, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out at impactsignals.ai and share it with someone working in the field.
Stay ready.